The camera opens on a gravel lot at dawn, fog hanging low like a kept secret. A key turns. The first cough of a small block V8 becomes a growl, then a promise. Out of the haze, the 1982 GMC K2500 rolls forward, square shoulders, steel-belted stance, the kind of truck that looks like it could headbutt a brick wall and apologize to no one. It isn't glamorous. It doesn't flirt with you. It just shows up like a stuntman who never takes the bow. In a town obsessed with faces, this is the jawline. If Hollywood has a backbone, this is one of its vertebrae. 3/4-ton bones, a ladder frame that doesn't understand the word quit, 4-wheel drive for when the script calls for mud snow or an explosion that wasn't supposed to go that wide. It's the spare hero second on the call sheet, first on the set. When the production assistant whispers, "We need one more," take the K2500 simply tightens its lugs and gives you another, and another, and another. But beneath that stoic sheet metal lives a story the credits never bothered to print. The 1982 K2500 belongs to a fever dream era when American trucks were squared off like knuckles built to haul lumber Monday and a film crew Saturday. Its geometry is all right angles and responsibility. Its presence says, bolt me to a crane, strap me to a camera rig, load the bed with gear, then ask me to jump a ditch twice. You'll get your shot and your wrap. Tonight we're peeling back the matte paint of anonymity to hunt what this truck left behind on film stock, the tire marks and chase scenes, the unbroken rhythm of a stunt that could have folded a lesser chassis, the quiet calculus of weight gearing and heat that lets a vehicle take punishment and come back asking only for fuel and a wrench. We'll chart 20 stops along that map, from origin myths and shop floor tricks to the strangest on-set fixes and the cult afterlife that welded this square body into memory. The star never asked for applause, it asked for work, and work made it immortal. 20. The Unsung Workhorse. Before it ever met a movie camera, the 1982 GMC K2500 was built with a single purpose: to work harder than its driver. In an age when American trucks still wore flannel and smelled of oil and cedar, the K2500 wasn't chasing trends, it was chasing endurance. Its squared-off design came from General Motors' Rounded Line series, a name that mocked itself because nothing about it was rounded. Every panel was stamped to endure abuse, every weld meant to hold through winter's collisions, and camera rigs bolted straight into its spine. It became a favorite on Hollywood lots, not because it looked pretty, but because it refused to die. Producers loved it when you're shooting in desert heat or fake snow. You need a vehicle that starts the first time every time. 19. The Fall Guy Connection. Before CGI explosions, there were real ones, and the Fall Guy turned them into television art. The show's stunt truck was a heavily modified K2500 painted bronze and gold, launched off ramps, crashed into barns, and somehow kept rolling. The production team went through several units, but the truck's bones frame suspension driveline rarely failed before the body panels did. The K2500 didn't just survive stunts, it defined how Hollywood designed stunts for a decade. It was the stunt double for every action hero who couldn't take a hit that hard. 18. A V8 that could take a beating. At its core sat the 350 cubic inch V8, a lump of cast iron that could idle underwater if you begged it nicely. Mechanics joked that the engine didn't need oil, just sympathy. On set, when stunt coordinators demanded repeated high-speed takeoffs, most vehicles overheated or coughed. The K2500 didn't flinch. Its simplicity, no fragile electronics, no temperamental sensors made it the perfect candidate for long, destructive days of filming. This wasn't performance, it was persistence. 17. Built like a camera rig. One of Hollywood's lesser-known secrets, many chase scenes weren't filmed with the truck they were filmed from it. The K2500's long, stable chassis and heavy suspension made it the perfect mobile camera platform. Cinematographers trusted it with tens of thousands of dollars in lenses, and film stock bolted directly into its bed. Every bump, every turn predictable, controlled, cinematic. In many ways, the K2500 wasn't just an action prop, it was the unseen cameraman. 16. The shape that became an era. That blocky silhouette, those sealed beam headlights, the slab of chrome, it all became shorthand for American grit. From Footloose to Terminator, the trucks on screen echoed that same squared geometry. When a director wanted real America, they ordered a GMC. No fancy lines, no pretense, just an honest rectangle with wheels. In a way, the 1982 K2500 became the last masculine archetype before pickup trucks turned suburban. 15. The paint job that lied. Hollywood has a habit of lying beautifully, and the K2500's paint was one of its best fibs. While the base trucks came in sober work colors, frost white, fleet blue, or forest green, studios often dressed them up in fake metallics that shimmered under tungsten light. Some units were sprayed with reflective mica to catch explosions better on film. Others used weathered matte to look real, but under those layers of makeup, the same rugged steel sat waiting. After all, beauty doesn't survive a 40-foot jump structure does. 14. Suspension built for abuse. Every film truck's worst nightmare is gravity. To survive stunts, mechanics would reinforce the K2500's leaf springs with additional steel packs, sometimes welding them solid to prevent sag. That made the ride brutal, but on screen, when the truck landed from impossible heights, it stayed upright. The downside, most stunt drivers joked their spines shortened an inch per episode of The Fall Guy. Still, the footage was worth it. The K2500 always landed like a promise kept. 13. The missing tailgate mystery. If you ever pause a chase scene and spot a missing tailgate, it's not continuity error, it's physics. The K2500's rear gate was often removed to reduce weight and keep the truck balanced mid-air during jumps. That small change helped it maintain trajectory instead of nosediving into a fiery grave. Hollywood called it truck aerodynamics. Engineers called it don't kill the driver. Either way it worked. 12. Fireproof sort of. Explosions sell tickets, but heat melts trucks. Special effects crews coated the underbody with aircraft-grade fire retardant and lined the cab with ceramic insulation to keep the actors alive. One stunt K2500 from Walker, Texas Ranger reportedly took 5 detonations in a week and still drove off set under its own power. When the hood popped, the crew found charred wiring but an untouched fuel system. The truck had literally walked through fire. 11. The Unintended Star. Sometimes a background vehicle steals the frame. During a desert chase in Terminator 2, a 1982 K2500 was meant to carry rigging equipment off camera, but as the dust rose, its reflection caught in a rear-view mirror, glinting like a sentinel of realism. Cameron kept the shot. No product placement, no plan, just the perfect accident. That moment, a truck meant to be invisible became part of cinematic legend. It didn't just support the story, it entered it. 10. The truck that broke physics. During filming of The Fall Guy's 3rd season, one K2500 jumped 82 feet a distance that on paper should have folded its frame like tinfoil. Instead, it landed, blew 2 shocks, cracked a leaf spring, and still drove off under its own power. Engineers later inspected it and found that its boxed steel frame had bent but hadn't broken. It defied calculations. The footage was used in promos for years, a mechanical miracle captured in slow motion. They called it the leap that math couldn't explain. 9. The ghost unit that disappeared. In 1985, one of the original GMC K2500 stunt rigs used in The Fall Guy simply vanished after production wrapped. No studio paperwork, no VIN records, nothing. For decades, fans hunted it through junkyards and collector forums. Then in 2017, a rusted shell matching its description appeared in a Texas scrapyard, still wearing its studio safety roll cage under a layer of dust. It sold quietly to a private collector who has since refused all interviews. The legend of the ghost truck lives on still unseen, still working its myth. 8. The hidden camera hatch. Few people know that some K2500s were modified with a custom trapdoor cut into the truck bed. Underneath sat a camera operator lying flat, filming upward through a glass plate for low-angle chase shots. The director's monitor caught every ounce of power as the world blurred above the lens. That one design trick gave audiences some of the most visceral vehicle shots of the 80s. The truck wasn't just the subject of the scene, it became the filmmaking tool itself. 7. the prototype diesel nobody believed in. While most screen-used K2500s ran on gasoline, a few early stunt prototypes used the heavy 6.2L Detroit diesel V8. Everyone hated it at first, too loud, too sluggish, too smoky. But on long shoots in Mexico, where fuel quality was unpredictable, that diesel never quit. It outlasted every generator and camera truck in the convoy. One crew member said, "When everything else died, that old diesel just laughed and kept breathing." Hollywood eventually retired it, but the legend stuck. Indestructibility comes with a cloud of black smoke. 6. The accident that made the trailer. During a desert chase scene in Walker, Texas, Ranger, a K2500, flipped after hitting soft sand. It wasn't scripted. Cameras kept rolling. When the truck landed upside down, the roll cage held, the stunt driver crawled out, and the crew cheered. Producers replayed the crash, slowed it down, and used it in the opening sequence of the show's next season. The K2500 literally crashed its way into television history. That wrecked truck was repaired and kept working for another 2 years. 5. The symbol of blue-collar Hollywood. While Ferraris and Lamborghinis sold dreams, the GMC K2500 sold reality. It was the truck that hauled lighting rigs, dragged crashed sedans off the set, and quietly carried the same spirit that built those blockbusters. To many crew members, it represented them sturdy, unglamorous, but essential. Grip teams nicknamed one unit Lunchbox because it always showed up before dawn and left after wrap. Years later, when collectors began hunting for screen-used vehicles, the K2500 wasn't on anyone's wish list until a few nostalgic stunt coordinators started buying them back, restoring not luxury but loyalty. In their words, this isn't a movie star, it's the man behind the camera with steel instead of skin. 4. From Hollywood to hometown. After the cameras stopped rolling, many production trucks were sold at local auctions, unrecognized relics of TV history. Some became farm workhorses, some hauled boats. One even pulled a parade float in Bakersfield, its suspension creaking under streamers instead of cameras. But the legends followed them. Owners began posting VIN plates online, comparing rust patterns and stickers, trying to trace which movie their trucks might have appeared in. A few lucky ones discovered faint property of Universal Television engravings under the bedliner, tiny ghost signatures of fame. 3. The revival of the square body. By the late 2010s, the square body era of GM trucks, especially the '82 K2500, was rediscovered by restorers and YouTubers. Suddenly, the same angular shape once called outdated became iconic. Collectors praised its mechanical honesty, the sound of the carbureted V8, and its refusal to pretend to be sleek. Shows like Roadkill and Vice Grip Garage helped turn forgotten film trucks into symbols of raw authenticity. The K2500 was no longer background noise, it became the conversation itself. Hollywood's forgotten extra had become internet royalty. To the living survivor. In 2021, a verified stunt K2500 chassis CK2E24D resurfaced at a Barrett-Jackson auction. It was scarred, rebuilt, and still running its original 350 V8. When the gavel hit, the crowd applauded not for horsepower, but for history. The buyer was a retired stunt coordinator who had driven one just like it 4 decades earlier. He didn't want to display it, he wanted to drive it. He said, "Every dent in this truck is a memory. You don't restore that, you preserve it." And in that moment, a piece of Hollywood's working class became legend. 1. The big reveal, the truck that never stopped rolling. Every Hollywood vehicle gets its curtain call except this one. When the credits rolled, the 1982 GMC K2500 didn't fade to black. It just downshifted and kept going. After decades of jumps, burns, and explosions, one of the original stunt trucks still works, not as a museum piece, but as a functioning tool. It now lives on a small ranch outside Santa Clarita, owned by a former stuntman named Rick L., who refuses to polish it. He says the dents are autographs from physics. The truck starts every morning on the first turn of the key, same grumble, same shake, same iron will. Its odometer rolled past 400,000 miles years ago, then circled back again and again. Nobody knows its true mileage anymore. When crews visit the ranch, they expect nostalgia. Instead, they get silence and the smell of gasoline. Rick lets them climb in, feel the dented steering wheel, the sun-baked dash, the shotgun seat scarred by cigarette burns from night shoots. He tells them, "This truck has seen more movie stars than I ever will, and it's outlived half of them." There's laughter, a pause, and then reverence. Because in that moment, you realize this isn't just a vehicle. It's Hollywood's toughest extra, a piece of working history that refused to die, outlasting its fame and finding something purer purpose. The big reveal isn't about discovering a secret under the hood. It's about realizing that sometimes the greatest legends aren't born in spotlight, they're welded, bolted, and scarred into being. The K2500 never needed applause. It had work to do, and even now, 40 years later, it's still showing up for the next scene. When the smoke clears and the cameras power down what's left behind, isn't the roar of the stunt or the shine of the star, it's the silence of something that endured. The 1982 GMC K2500 wasn't born for the red carpet, it was forged for long days, hot engines, and scenes that demanded more muscle than mercy. It became the quiet heartbeat of an era when Hollywood still bled oil and sweat, when action didn't need green screens to feel real. Every bolt told a story, every dent kept a secret, and every mile reminded the film world that strength isn't always glamorous, sometimes it's just consistent. Across 7 decades of cinema, countless icons have burned bright and vanished, but this one, this square-shouldered workhorse, kept rolling through decades, scenes, and owners. From the chaos of the Fall Guy to the forgotten dirt roads of California, it carried stories bigger than its frame, and in doing so, it became something Hollywood rarely recognizes: a hero with no ego, only endurance. Maybe that's the real lesson of the K2500. Fame is a spark, legacy is torque. A machine like this doesn't chase admiration, it earns it with every ignition. And perhaps when the next stunt truck fires up for a film that will make millions, somewhere in that low rumble will echo the soul of this one, still idling, still patient, still alive behind the screen.